Skateboarding looks like heaps of fun, but I think I'm going to need some help if I want to get any good at it. I've got a friend at the local skate shop, so hopefully he'll be able to give me some good advice.
Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah, good.
Hey listen, I've decided to learn how to skateboard, so I was wondering if you could give me a few pointers.
Sure man, what do you want to know?
Well, I guess we should start with how some of the equipment works.
Well, skateboards are designed with physics in mind. Many of the tricks involve aerial maneuvers and heavy impacts, so the skateboards need to be tough, but also light. The largest part of the board is called the deck. It's usually made out of layers of maple wood. Maple is considered a hardwood and has good balance between strength and flexibility. Flexibility is important because it helps prevent the board from snapping when high pressure is applied. Underneath the deck, we have two sets of trucks. These are usually made of aluminium and they are used to attach the wheels. The wheels are made from polyurethane, which is a kind of material called a polymer. They are tough, slightly elastic, and grip well.
Okay, so we've sussed out the equipment. I guess it's time to start learning some tricks. What should I learn first?
Well, probably the most fundamental trick in skateboarding is the ollie. The ollie is basically a way of jumping while riding a skateboard and can be used to hop over obstacles or onto boxes or rails. It's also the basis for most spinning and flipping tricks.
Okay, so how do I do it?
First, put your front foot in the middle of the board. Then, place your back foot on the kick. Now crouch down. Then, you rapidly extend your arms and your legs. But make sure your back foot kicks down harder than your front foot. Then, when you're in the air, level your feet out and come back down to the ground.
Yeah, well sweet, that sounds easy. Well Chris, obviously I'm still really struggling. Have you got any more advice?
Well, I think you need to check out the expert on motion.
Well, who's that?
Sir Isaac Newton.
It turns out Sir Isaac is long past his use-by date. He lived in the 16th century and revolutionised the way people thought about motion. Lucky for me, a distant relative of his lives nearby.
Get on the county 'cause you're standing free. You got a new horizon, it's ephemeral style.
Oh, g'day.
I'm looking for a Dr. Warren Newton.
Yeah, that's me.
Right, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
Dr. Wazza.
okay. Someone told me that you're the local expert on motion physics.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want to learn how to skateboard a bit better, so I was wondering if maybe you could help me out a bit.
I reckon I could help you out with that. Why don't you come down to my office? I'll just get changed.
Okay, cool.
You and me, windmill for the land, it's every...
I thought you were going to get changed.
Yeah, I did.
Alright, let's go.
First of all, we should look at how to get things moving. If you've got something and it's still, and you want it to move, you've got to apply force. Sir Isaac Newton defined this principle as his first law of motion. There are many sources of force, like muscular effort, magnets, and gravity. Force is also needed if you want to stop something from moving. The force must be applied in a direction opposite to the object's movement. Common sources of force that stop or slow things down are air resistance and friction. So, if you want to work out how to get the board into the air, we've got to first examine the forces that are being applied to the board. When a rider is standing on their skateboard, the force of gravity is pushing the rider and the board down.
But Dr. Newton, if gravity is applying a force on the board, then why isn't it already moving?
That's a very good question, Josh. Sir Isaac Newton realised that when two things come into contact with each other, they always exert an equal and opposite force on each other. Newton called this the third law of motion. So although the gravitational force is pushing the skateboard down, the ground is pushing up on the skateboard.
But hang on, if forces are always equal and opposite, how do things ever get moving?
Well, force is not the only factor in motion. The mass of the object is also important. You see, the heavier an object is, the more force is needed to get that object moving. Newton called this principle his second law of motion. When skateboarding, there are three objects to consider: the rider, the board, the earth. Because the earth has such a huge mass, our actions aren't going to move the earth much, but we should be able to get the board and the rider off the ground. To do an ollie, the first thing a rider does is crouch. This puts the rider's muscles in position where they can produce a force. After crouching, the rider rapidly extends their legs. This results in the rider's body moving upwards.
Okay, so the upward force on the rider's body gets him into the air, but how does the board get off the ground?
Towards the end of the rider's first movement, they kick down hard with their back leg and lift their front leg. This makes the board pivot around the point above the back wheels, like this. This will result in the back edge of the board hitting the ground. It's this collision that gives the board the force to get it up off the ground. During the collision, the board bends slightly and then springs back, giving it a new force, which results in the board moving upwards. Now we've got both the board and the rider up in the air. The rider levels his feet, causing the board to level out as well. The last stage of the ollie is to actually land. Now gravity will take care of the downward motion for you, but it's up to you to maintain your balance when you hit the ground and to absorb some of that impact by bending your knees.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel way more confident now. I reckon it's time for another go.
Here, take the bomb.